What's up, guys? Appreciate you coming back to the Mix 28 YouTube channel. Um, gonna do a little something different, obviously. It's a reaction video. I haven't been posting for a while, and the reason for that is I have been going through, obviously, some medical stuff for the people who do know me, but then also I got attacked by a dog, two dogs, my neighbor's dogs. They got off the leash. Came onto our yard while I was taking my dog out and basically covered my dog with my own body. And yeah, so I've been, dealing with that, recovering from that. I'm okay. My dog's okay. My dog didn't get bit because again, like I said, I covered him with my own body. But anyways, to get to the short of it, I know I said I was gonna like daily videos and stuff like that, and that really hasn't like come into fruition. Because I work a regular job and also have problems in life, things of my own that I have to deal with. So instead, what I'm gonna do is kind of a more easier, simpler content right now. Um, I'm still working on the Palestine video and the Israel video, but and it's just gonna take a little bit of time because obviously I like to do a lot of research, and that's a more longer form video, like possibly an hour and some change, if not more. But yeah, so it's Pride Month. Happy Pride to everyone. Um, and I just kind of wanted to look at something interesting. So I've always had this view about Pride that I think a lot of people in the community would have a different view of, and that view is Pride has become, in a way, tainted, as far as whether it's good or not for the community. And I'd say it's more, it's leaning more towards harmful than it is good. And that's not because everyone that's in a Pride parade or whatever is just some psycho and, you know, whipping it out, having sex or whatever in front of, people. But there is some very questionable shit going on. And also, it's like anything in a capitalist society, it's being manipulated. And so I just wanted to look at a few YouTube videos that I thought maybe would, how best to say this, come and sort of definitively explain my points in that matter. But it was hard to find them without basically stumbling across some radical conservative bullshit that's like demeaning Pride just because it's attached to LGBTQ plus people. So I didn't find many videos, but I did find a couple, like one that is the main one, really the primary one we'll be looking at. It's not too long. That is from a LGBTQ plus member, and her name is Finding Sky, and I have not watched the video yet, so this will be a fresh react. So let's see. Let's get into what she's got to say.
Pride Month is almost over. Thank God, because if I see another rainbow flag on my feed, I might buy a pack of Skittles and start slingshotting them at my screen.
No, 50-50, man.
My distaste may come as a surprise to some people, considering I'm actually a part of the LGBT community. In case you haven't noticed from my endless references to titties and busty Latinas in the past 10 videos, I like hot chicks. This is not a coming out video. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I don't need a rainbow flag and a teary-eyed video confessing the fact that I like big butts and I cannot lie, but it may be interesting to hear that I'm actually extremely ashamed to be a part of this community. And look, I know we've come a
Okay, I'm a little concerned by that statement, but you know what? She's got it. She's got it. Also, can't agree. Her girl is 1,000,000% a 10 times 50. And she's not bad looking herself, if I did say so myself. Anyways,
long way. There was a period of time when anyone who wasn't heterosexual was scrutinized or in severe cases even killed. And as glad as I am that I can walk down the street holding a girl's hand and not face the scrutiny, I also feel like we've passed the point of acceptance and are now at the point of blatant indoctrination.
okay. So this is what I meant. a lot of the videos I watched on YouTube were just, it's either someone who is a member of the community and has been comfortable enough for a while to where they feel like there is no threat, or radical right wing shit. And to like reference this point here, where she's like, we've passed the point of acceptance. No, we haven't. We're at the point of not really acceptance, like full on acceptance, but we're at the point of more like, you can exist, but there's going to be a decent amount of cost that comes with it for existing. Now, for someone like her who's lesbian, not that it is easier, because it isn't. Okay, she's still a member of the community. But what she is able to do is more easily just slide by, because people have gotten into the norm of seeing lesbian people. Same way people have gotten into the norm of seeing gay people. But there are other members of LGBTQ plus where it is not a norm of their existence. It's not a norm of bisexual people existing. It's not a norm of trans people existing. It's not a norm of non-binary people existing. Like, Emma D'Arcy is a big example of this. Most people exposed to them are of the mind that they are female because they play Rhaenyra in House of the Dragons. And so quite often, I'm sure whenever they do interviews, it has to be explained that they go by they, them, they are non-binary, this is their perception on gender. But also, just from the onset look, we've already assumed that they are she, her. Everyone approaches with that appearance. So there are a lot of parts of the community which aren't the norm. Again, lesbian and gay people per se have become the norm in most circles. However, anyone else that steps into those circles from the community is quite often looked at like, what the fuck are they doing? Or who the fuck are they? But I'm going to give her a chance, so let's just watch.
Someone has to say it. These pride parades have gotten disgusting.
Okay, yeah, no, that shouldn't be allowed. And that, no, there's children. This is in public. And there's children. So, I don't think anyone's saying this should, anyone with the sane mind is saying this should be allowed. Okay, and also, you gotta think about it. A lot of this, like, pushing the boundary shit comes from when the boundary is made too fucking rigid. That you can't push through it, you'll just push around it. And as a result, people who push around it make ridiculous jumps to get around the boundary that just, I mean, no one wants to see your bare ass, okay? Whether, like, it's a kid or not. I'm in public. I don't really want to see some bare naked motherfucker rolling down the street, okay? It doesn't matter what gender or what fucking association you have. I don't need to see your ass. I don't. I need, like, a barrier in between me and any fart that slides out of your ass in public, okay? I feel like we've all agreed that's a respectable thing, that there should be a barrier between someone's ass cheeks and the fart that slides out of it in public.
It's not even about acceptance anymore. It's a provocative and aggressive.
What's provocative about this? I don't understand. They're just dancing and walking down the street. See, this is what I don't get. There were so many videos where it's like this. It was like searching for something and then finding nothing, and then they create this, like, it's a problem. This is a problem shit. So, I don't know. There's nothing provocative about this. Like,
Aggressive public display of hypersexuality.
technically there's nothing provocative about this, except for maybe the guy in the back, because I can't tell what the he's wearing on his pants. But there's nothing really provocative per se about this. I think the issue she might say is, well, they're exposing people to their sexuality. They have a leather kink or some weird shit like that. Which, okay, well then what are goth people doing when they walk down the street wearing fishnets and skimpy outfits? Or emo chicks? Or what about like gym bros who are walking around with their ass in those tight ass shorts and they have like their fucking big ass fucking muscles out? Or I don't know, just there's so many things that you could say is a kink and someone's exposing it to the public, but it's like, no, it's just a normal thing. It's just also something that could be tied to the bedroom. So this isn't really bad. The only thing I said again is like, what is this guy wearing in the back? That's it.
And fetish.
Yeah, see, there we go. That's too much because there's ass cheeks out. I know there's ass cheeks out.
What was supposed to be an accepting and innocent space.
That's, yeah.
Has turned into
yep,
a hostile
too much.
freak show. I didn't go to Pride, never will, unless it's to document the absurdity of it, but this is what LGBT is associated with now. It's no longer associated with peace, love, unity, and tolerance. Instead, it's associated with hypersexualization, provocation, fetish, and bigotry. I don't know what happened.
Okay, to respond to that, I think one of the things that she needs to understand is it's like that because we live in, not to get all super political, but it's me. We live in a capitalist society. Okay, everything is commoditized. Everything. It is why music is so dog shit now, because instead of focusing on someone's lyricism, they have to make something that's related to drugs, sex, money, get bitches, yada yada. Okay? That's commoditization. You want to solve that problem, there's two things you got to do. You've got to soften the barrier that makes normalizing this shit. You got to soften it, if not remove it. Okay? And then you've got to also not let corporations get their fucking hands involved in something that should be of the people. Simple as that. It's the same way, like, you get, like, the fucking gun companies that are, like, advertising to fucking Karen McSweeney, who drives a fucking Honda Odyssey, and they're like, oh, you could buy this purse holster, this purse that comes with a fucking gun holster for your Glock. Whenever, you know, these thugs, and then the thug will be some video of, like, some black guy, some generic-ass black guy, trying to rob this mom of fucking, like, 5 as she's leaving a soccer meet, which is never gonna fucking happen, because why the fuck would a thug be fucking sourcing out a fucking, a goddamn kid's soccer meet? Like, it makes zero sense. That's what capitalism does. It commoditizes literally everything.
Into the days when we would encourage people to accept themselves and make peace with those who disagree with us. Because now we just scream obscenities at anyone even whispering a subtle argument. This community has managed to weaponize its own labels and use them unfairly, not hesitating to label any opposition as transphobic or homophobic. It's funny because we used to be the ones complaining about intolerance. 2 girls holding hands in public were at risk of being fucking shot. They couldn't adopt kids, get married, start a family, so I completely understand why we spent so many years fighting for tolerance. But we have it now. And ever since we—
No, sweet. No, ma'am. No, we don't. All right, then.
We've been shown tolerance, we're now the ones refusing to reciprocate it. We've now become the side that is intolerant to opposing beliefs. The script has flipped completely.
Okay. Firstly, the opposing beliefs are that you shouldn't exist. Do you understand why there is intolerance to that now? The opposing belief is that you as a lesbian woman should be burned at the stake for being a lesbian woman. Actually, I lied. That's medieval. We're modern times. The opposing belief is that you should be shot and thrown in a fucking mass grave with your wife, who, as more feminine presenting, might actually be allowed to live as a forced trad wife. That's the opposing belief. If you think that everything is sunshine and dandy, right? You're like, oh, well, we now have the right to get married. Everything is solved. No. Majority of the fucking places you can adopt from are Christian nonprofits who will not adopt you because you are LGBTQ+. Majority of the barriers you have to get through for like embryo freezing and whatnot like that, and finding like a sperm donor in the whole 9 yards, are inherent in the sense of those in the medical community are allowed to, in some ways, infect their personal beliefs on your medical decision, all because they'll say some shit like, well, it's not a life-threatening situation. It's just you want to have a baby, but you're married to a woman. And again, it all boils down to you're not looking at the world much. And I understand. You got a hot-ass fucking girlfriend. I 100% get it. I wouldn't be looking at the world much either, okay? 1,000,000%. Your life looks like it's good. You know, you look like shit's working relatively cool. But for a lot of people in the community that you're in, it is not as easy, okay? The moment someone trans comes out, the likelihood of them being abused, raped, murdered, committing suicide skyrockets to a level where it's almost a guarantee. The same thing with someone that's gay. The same thing with someone that's a lesbian. The numbers jump the moment LGBTQ plus people come out. And the moment they start trying to live their life is the moment someone is always trying to actively end their life because of who they are. You think there's tolerance, but it isn't. And I understand how you could not understand that because you may be not plugged in to the reality. And that's okay. Most people aren't. But the reality is that, okay? And if you think it's not, literally look at any conservative talking show. And the moment they talk about LGBTQ plus people, they're the LGBTQ plus mafia, the alphabet mafia, the gays, the damn lesbians and wanting to fucking marry another woman, the trans or transing the kids. A lot of that shit is fantasy. Now, yes, a lot of the shit that happens at pride parades is definitely off the fucking cuff. It is something that should not be fucking happening. But you're overboarding it.
And it's not for the better. See, back in the day when I was a little G rolling up on my Heelys,
I'm dead. This kid looks so fucking cool. This was her when she was a kid. She looked so goddamn cool when she was a kid. And I out here looking like a fucking, just a big old fucking nerd. You know what? I'm just gonna keep scrolling because she won at life at childhood. That explains so much. She's fucking cool as shit as a kid. This is a kid from like the Disney shows that like everyone thought was fucking cool. Now I see why she has these views. Okay. She's been cool her whole life. That's what it is.
he's trying to finesse the hoes. I didn't even know what gay was, much less what trans was. I grew up in the South, the deep South, like frogging, gator hunting, Confederate flag South. I thought LGBT stood for let's go beer tasting. I didn't know a single gay person in my life, and I didn't have a phone or any type of social media to be exposed to it either. And yet somehow I looked like this. Yeah, that's 7 or 8 year old me, dope slinging and pimping since '01, baby. My idol, if you can't tell, was Rob Deerdeck. And let me tell you,
Explains so much.
I got made fun of all the time. If only I had $1 for every time someone asked me, are you a boy or a girl? Why do you dress like a boy? And I would always get so pissed off when people would call me gay, faggot, dyke, because at the time, I didn't know that I was gay. So I would just be standing there like, what the fuck are you even talking about? I'm none of these things that you're calling me. It wasn't until I was going into high school that I realized, oh shit. I like tits. Everyone around me knew before I knew. The reason I'm telling you this story is so that you're aware that I wasn't acting or pretending or trying to fit a label or any of that bullshit. I never dressed like a boy out of opposition for tradition. I never did it in pursuit of being unique. As cringy as it sounds, I was genuinely just being myself. My interests were never in Barbies or playing house. I wanted to play basketball and build Lego City. I was never constantly in my head thinking, oh, if I do this masculine thing, then this feminine. No. What 8-year-old kid thinks about that? For an 8-year-old kid to be thinking like that, they would either have to be medically neurotic or extremely brainwashed by social media. I didn't have TikTok.
Okay, so to add to her point, most people who are members of the community, you've always been that in so much shape or form. It's just you didn't know. And to assume, okay, how do I put this? Because I know what she's saying here. She's saying, like, it's being forced down your throat. Like, that society is now showing everyone, including kids, LGBTQ plus people exist. To counterpoint that, okay, yes, we come from, because she looks like she's probably my age, maybe a little younger, and I'm 28. We didn't have, obviously, as much, like, we had internet and shit, and we had phones, but not as quick as the phones and shit that we have today. Like, just not a thing. And everything wasn't so forced on your throat when you were on the internet back then. Like, MySpace, that was before I got to high school. And, like, generally speaking, high school is when you really, really start, like, socially butterflying, right? So, my high school was, like, I think I had, like, a Facebook junior year or something like that. But even then, in the early days of Facebook, this stuff wasn't, like, shoved down your fucking throat because no one really knew how to, like, use and fully engulf themselves in social media. In today's world, it's, like, a standard, okay? You're a fucking social media mastermind by fucking, like, age 15, okay? Everything we saw as children and everything she saw as children was straight stuff. Because that was considered the norm. Now, I'm not saying everything needs to be done LGBTQ plus and shit. Like, Dumbledore randomly fucking becoming gay because J.K. Rowling wanted more gay readers, even though she turned around and fucking pulled a goddamn 180 and straight up went turf mode. Okay? But, like, everything you see was straight. You don't think about it because it's the norm. Because you were told it's the norm, but that's not true. There were LGBTQ plus people out there. And the reason why you didn't see them a lot is because, yes, you lived in the fucking deep south where being that was like fucking grounds for you automatically being made fucking homeless. So, and I'm from North Carolina, so yeah, it is grounds for you basically fucking being kicked out of your family, kicked out of the house. Your life is fucking over. So a lot of people that were LGBTQ plus in the South just did not come out because society would not accept them. And she got lucky. Okay? And a lot of LGBTQ plus people get lucky. She had a family that was accepting even before she knew what she was. Okay? There might have been some hints and talks about how she's a bit tomboyish and this and that amongst the family. But no one really, like, grilled her for it, it seems. And that's fine. That's great. That's fucking awesome. That's amazing. Not every motherfucking story is like that. Okay? Most, like, LGBTQ plus people get shit talked by their family. Maybe not to their face. Okay? Especially if you're black. Or Latino. Not sure about Asian communities. But I'm sure about Latino and black communities. Okay? They are very fucking, there's always, like, in a family, from my own experience, there's, like, 3 people in my family, on my mom's side, that everyone would talk about after Thanksgiving. 2 of them were, like, studs, and the other one was just a feminine lesbian. These people were cool. Awesome. Nice to know people. Amazing people. Yeah, they had their own personal problems and stuff, but it wasn't their identity. But people still shit talked about them. And the moment we left Thanksgiving and family started saying, my aunts and stuff, to people that lived in the same area as me when we would leave Shelby and go back to Raleigh, there was always the comment about, did you see so and so or this, that person? And it wasn't about what they said or, oh, they got a new job or this and that. It was just like, I got no problem with it, but that mess just, And it's like, why? What the, does it matter? So I know what she's going to say. She's going to say that, like, it's because they're fucking, like, she's going to say it's because they're online now, and every time they cut on the news, this stuff is shoved down their throat. And it's like, do you think that's trans people? Do you think that's lesbians? Do you think that's gay people? No. That's capitalism. Taking advantage of something that is becoming slightly more acceptable, and therefore more people are allowed to at least exist with the label. Not saying that it's your identity, but because more people can exist, and because they realize, oh my God, gay and lesbian and trans people and bisexual people or whatever, and plus people, they'll buy the shit out of something if we just make one of the characters gay. If we just make these two characters have a tense gay mance, right? Like if they just have this like lesbian love affair, or this character's trans, but we don't never like officially say it, but everyone knows, and will have their like every trans character on TV literally has a love interest that fucks them in the closet and like manipulates them into not telling anyone, but at the same time tells them they love them. Every single trans character on TV is literally like that. Every single one. Find one that isn't or didn't have that happen in their storyline, and I'll fucking admit defeat. She can have every point.
TikTok or Instagram as an 8-year-old kid. Thank God. And I feel genuinely sorry for kids growing up on these platforms being exposed to all of these attention whoring and degenerate ways of life.
And also, isn't that the fault of the fucking parents? Okay, when I got a fucking phone, my mom had a moment where she had like the bill skyrocket, right? It wasn't me. It was my brother. And he was texting on the phone a lot, talking on the phone a lot. This was back before unlimited plans were like the fucking standard. Okay, he was texting on the phone a lot, talking on the phone a lot, going on the internet a lot, and the bill was fucking high. Okay, she had everything he did printed the fuck out. Like every month for like a solid fucking year. Okay? That's on the parent if their child is like on social media too fucking much. Or even on social media at all. That's on the parent. That's not on the people who are on the platform as adults, or at least young adults, expressing themselves. It's dumb to blame them about some kid they've never met in fucking Idaho watching a fucking TikTok.
Life. They don't get to see that all the real trans people are discreet. You don't know that they're trans because they don't want you to know. They want to blend in as
I wonder why. I wonder why they want to blend in.
a normal person and live a normal life as their changed gender. They don't want anyone asking their pronouns. They want it to be so obvious that you just assume their gender. That's why they spent thousands of dollars on corrective surgeries, so that you could look at them and not ask what they are. That's
Because if they're not passing, it becomes a serious issue. They have to constantly come out and defend their existence every day. Which is why being trans is not the norm. It's weird because she's like defeating her own earlier statements and still decided to state these things. Like, and again, no fault to her. Again, she's probably had a much different experience, clearly, by her childhood, where, like, it was very obvious she was something and it was just fucking accepted, right? And when she probably came out, it wasn't a big deal. And now she's dating this very beautiful girl. Her life is going relatively, yeah, there were struggles. I'm sure there were struggles. Like she said, she got bullied and called, the dyke and the F word and all this other stuff. I'm certain there was people like that. There was people in my middle school that did girls that were clearly lesbian in like fucking middle school and elementary school that were done like that, okay? That's just because kids are assholes. I was an asshole as a kid. And I was fucking like chubby once I got to like fucking like 7th grade. I wasn't like super fat, but I was clearly picked on for being like chubby. And I was an asshole. Kids are just assholes naturally. Like, every parent should understand this. The kid that got out the car in the morning and was your sweet, cute little fucking bunny was a fucking demon the moment you drove the fuck away until you pulled up the next time to pick them up from elementary school. They were a fucking demon. Okay, this is why teachers don't, in my opinion, just don't get paid enough just to deal with someone else's fucking demon spawn. Okay? Fuck the goddamn education part. Just dealing with someone else's fucking straight up demon. Okay? There's weird and asshole type shit that kids come up with and then proceed to fucking do, especially in like elementary school and middle school. So I know she dealt with that. But she could come home and immediately have an accepting and warm and welcoming family to who she was, and it was kind of clear who she was early on. Not everyone finds the fuck out when they're a kid. Not everyone fucking has such a welcoming and warm environment at home. Not everyone finds the fucking person that they love, especially trans people. Trans people are fucking fetishized like a motherfucker, okay? They don't have actual relationships most of the time. They have fuck buddies. Someone who just wants to fuck a trans person. That's it. Okay, I'm getting a little angry, and I won't, because, again, her experience has led her to these beliefs. Even though I should also state she's immediately countering her fucking beliefs in the second half of this video and still is holding on to her beliefs.
That's the whole point of a transition. All of these people you see on social media posting about their transgenderism are the ones transitioning out of a feeling of emptiness and need for validation.
So she's doing the same thing, but as a lesbian person. You see what I'm saying? Like, shit makes no sense. So her content is literally the same thing, her experiences as a lesbian person. That trans people are posting their experiences as a trans person. Or that straight women, when they complain about what's the fucking guy from fucking New York, the Jared motherfucker or whatever the fuck his name was, that apparently every fucking girl in New York had been ghosted or fucked by. She's doing the same thing. And I'm not saying this like as like, oh, fucking got you, then you gotta stop. No, I'm just saying stop fucking complaining about the same thing being done by someone who's just in a different, like, coalition of society. Holy fuck.
They're not doing it out of a genuine sense of dysphoria and discontentment with their body. These days, the members of the LGBT community are all demanding.
Also, apparently you read minds. That's interesting. Good to know. Apparently you fucking read minds. You know what they're doing it for.
That people acknowledge and accept their often obscure identities. It feels like everyone's desperately grasping at these labels, all in a fight to be unique and interesting. But since when did we...
Because at the end of the day, we all realize that we're human, and there is absolutely nothing unique about any of us. And I don't mean to say that as an asshole. I mean, legitimately, you are the same as a motherfucker who was born during the Crusades. You just have a different life story. That's the unique part about you, is your environment. That's why your kids are different from you, despite being a copy of you. There's nothing unique about a human. And once you realize that, you start trying to find ways to make yourself unique, because you realize the only unique thing in your sphere is your story. It's not the fact that you're you, it's just the story of you. Fuck.
We become so desperate for approval and validation. These people look attention hungry and childish. It's like they're desperate for the whole world to accept and integrate their worldview. But that expectation is frankly unrealistic and juvenile. My sexuality is not a core part of my identity. I don't purposely flaunt it, I don't expect anyone to respect it, and I sure as hell don't need a stranger's validation for why it's okay.
Now, I agree with her that. Okay, and the reality is you cannot expect everyone to have your worldview, which is one of the reasons why I try to operate with a sense of logic and understanding. There is a person at my job who is literally the most fucking asshole person I've ever fucking known in my goddamn life. Okay? If you looked up cunt in a dictionary, you'd see that person's face. But at the end of the day, I'm one of the few people that still fucking will engage in a conversation with the fucker, even though I've had literal damn near come to blow moments with this motherfucker. Like 3 different times. And I will still engage in conversation with this motherfucker. Still discuss nerd shit or other shit with this motherfucker. Simply because at the end of the day, I do understand that logically, he comes from a different place. I come from a different place. So if you operate with a bit of logic and understanding, you can kind of come to a mutual respect for each other. Now, that being said, she is correct. No one should have to fucking be like, oh, I approve of you being trans. You should fuck and transition and all this other shit that you want to do. You should do it. And I'm going to full-heartedly 100% put my wallet and check behind you. But then again, no one is saying that. She's showing footage. I guarantee if you actually found the footage of what she's showing somebody that probably has, yes, some sort of mental fucking issue, okay, and shouldn't be at some political rally, but should be getting help to stabilize themselves, especially because the people on the opposing side who are saying that people of LGBTQ plus shouldn't exist also have fucking mental problems of their goddamn own. And you shouldn't expect someone else's validation to accept who you are. Because at the end of the day, it's self-love. Not everybody fucking love. Okay? So I agree with her on that part. However, I also want to clarify that, like, I don't think everyone that is LGBTQ plus is out here saying everyone needs to be gay. Everyone needs to be lesbian. Everyone needs to be bisexual. Case in point, her. She's not out here saying every person with a goddamn vagina and titties needs to fuck only people with vagina and titties. But her point and argument literally just leads to that. And that's why you can't just, you've got to logically, you can't act on your fucking anger. As human as it is, the moment you act on your anger and disgust, you'll say the wrong thing every fucking time. Yes, somebody could piss you off and they do need to get their ass kicked. But also, what if it's at work? You kick their ass. Now you get fired for kicking their ass. And while everyone's fucking cheering you on and you're on this fucking high, the moment you get in your car after being fired for kicking someone's ass, you realize you have no job and now no health insurance and no dental insurance and no nothing and no money and income. Do you have savings fucking back the fuck up? Probably fucking not. You live in America. Okay? See what I'm saying? Like, you might think this is a good thing to say, but you didn't think past that point, is what I'm saying. I understand what she's wanting to say. But in her wanting to say that, she didn't think about how it could be taken. She just posted it. Instead of thinking the road it could go down. And the flaws in her own angry thinking.
Am the way that I am, whether you like that or not, is absolutely irrelevant to me. I'm not proud of being gay. I think that shit's mad dumb. Because when you think of the word pride, you think of some type of achievement, some accomplishment, something you worked for. My attraction to women is not something that I chose. I didn't work for it. It's just how I am. Straight people don't flaunt the fact that they're straight. That's just how they are. Do you really think that anyone gives a shit about what genitalia you're attracted to? I genuinely can't think of a more irrelevant detail about your character. I don't give a fuck who you hump. As long as it's not my chick.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster. A real gangster.
Okay, so I get what she's trying to say. I do. But I think something she needs to understand about her point is, so the reason there is more or less a Pride Month is the same reason there is a Black History Month. And I'm not equating the fucking struggle if someone's going to put that bullshit argument out there, even though the struggle is kind of pretty much the same. Anyways, obviously with a different background. But anyways, it's because they're a group that was literally oppressed. That's why there's a Pride Month. Now, are there problems with Pride parades? Yes. Like the one in Seattle where there was literally like dudes just rolling around on bikes butt ass naked and there was literal children like right there. Okay? There are problems with Pride parades. Not every Pride parade is like that. More of them aren't than are. I can 100% assure you of that. And as for the whole thing of identity, I do agree with that. Your sexuality is not your identity. It's just another part of you. It's already built in. It's how you slid out the womb. It's just everyone found it out at different times. Prime example, her. She slid out the room, already fucking acting like a dude, probably clearly had this marker of tomboy probably growing up. Came from an area of the country that is relatively non-accepting, but got lucky, family was cool with it, whatever. Her story's different than most people in her community. And the issue is you still got to have some respect for the people who do get the shit stories. And that's what Pride is about. It's about the struggle to get just 2 letters of maybe 3, because bisexual is kind of somewhat accepted, but just to get 3 of the fucking letters somewhat in the accepting of the norm. Think about the shit that came before you. And this is, I don't know, maybe she does know more about LGBTQ plus history. I'm not sure. This video kind of leads me to think that maybe she doesn't. Okay, because there are a lot of fucked up stories about lesbian people, gay people, trans people, the whole fucking 9 yards. There's a lot of fucked up stories. Mostly in the West, because this is a relatively Western thing, and it comes from 1700s or so, where homosexuality just became this outright fucking, oh my fucking God, you better not fucking do it thing. Maybe she has the knowledge on this shit. Maybe she doesn't. I have no fucking idea. But this video tells me she doesn't. And this video also tells me she spoke without fucking thinking where her fucking words could lead. And when you talk about something, especially in a oppressed community, okay, whether she thinks it's the fucking norm or not, your story does not define the whole fucking community. And when you turn on the news and 30% of what Fox News is talking about is how apparently they're transing the fucking kids and making up these bullshit stories about shit that's happening in classrooms, which is fucking psychotic. And people who are members of the community have their parents believe this shit because they also don't think beyond what they've heard, or at least what they're saying. Your story is off. I agree. Pride Month has problems. Corporations fuck with it because it makes them fucking money. There's weird shit that goes on at pride parades. But, homegirl, you really gotta fucking think about this video and think about your points and more understand the community. Your story is not the norm. Especially your backstory is not the norm. A lot of people in the community will literally not come out until they're out their parents' house and on their own and economically fucking stable and support themselves because they know that coming out is going to end that relationship. And you might think, fuck it. If your parents don't accept you, it's cool, it's whatever, move the fuck on. But a lot of people don't operate like that. I would be fucking devastated if my parents cut me off just because of who I am. Most people are like that because your family is supposed to be the ones that accept you the most. So, I don't know. Just think about it and fucking just this whole shit needs to be fucking just re-fucking thought. It didn't sit right with me. I get what you're trying to say, but you said it all entirely the wrong way and proceeded to prove why you said it the wrong way. You just didn't listen to yourself when you said it the wrong way. That's it for this video. I'm Minx28. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Appreciate.